Some songs only come once. Not because the artist gave up, not because they ran out of talent, but because some songs carry a power that cannot be repeated. These were real people, real struggle, real music, and the world heard them once and never let them go. But here is what most people never talk about.
That's right.
Some of these songs changed the entire direction of reggae music forever, and the people who made them were never given the full credit they deserved. You think you know this story? You don't. 10 songs, 10 artists.
I strictly roots, now pop, no style.
One chance to make history. This is the truth behind the most powerful one-hit wonders in reggae, and by the end of this video, you will never hear these songs the same way again. Number 10, Big Mountain, Baby, I Love Your Way, 1994.
Far away from the city.
Now, I know what some of you are thinking. You are thinking that is a cover song, and you are right. But close your eyes for a second and picture yourself in 1994. You are in your car. The window is down.
Far away from the city.
The summer air is coming through, and this silky, warm reggae groove comes on the radio, and you just melt into your seat. That is what this record felt like. It was a lover's anthem wrapped in a soft roots blanket.
The moon appears to shine and light the...
It was not aggressive, it was not political, it was just beautiful. And sometimes beautiful is exactly what the world needs. Big Mountain were a reggae band from San Diego, California, not Kingston.
And light the sky with a hail.
Not London, San Diego, and that already tells you something interesting about where reggae had traveled by the early 90s. The band had actually been working since the late 80s and were respected in reggae circles.
The city. But don't, oh, no.
They took Peter Frampton's 1975 folk rock classic, stripped away the stadium guitar, replaced it with a gentle reggae rhythm, and placed it on the soundtrack of the film Reality Bites.
I wanna tell you I love the way every day.
That film was a cultural moment for young people in 1994, and it pushed the song onto the Billboard Hot 100 and into the mainstream consciousness globally.
Ooh, baby, I love your way.
Here's the thing that most people do not know. Big Mountain had already been releasing roots reggae music for years before this happened. They were not newcomers looking for a shortcut. They genuinely loved the music.
Ooh, baby, I love your way.
But the industry does not always reward loyalty to the culture. Sometimes it rewards the moment when you accidentally land on something that the mainstream is ready to receive.
Hey, let me down, 'cause your love just won't.
And in 1994, the mainstream was ready for a smooth reggae love song. Peter Frampton himself reportedly appreciated what they did with his music. One musician respecting another across genres.
Just one way. Hey, hey, hey. Ooh.
That part of the story rarely gets told. But if you think Big Mountain's story is complicated, wait until you hear what happened to the voice.
Hey, hey, hey. Ooh, baby, I love your way.
Behind one of the biggest pop songs of the entire year, 2001. That is coming up next. Number 9, RikRok. It Wasn't Me, 2001 with Shaggy. Now, technically, this is a Shaggy song, but I need you to really listen to this entry carefully because what happened to this man is one of the most overlooked injustices in modern reggae and pop history. You know this song.
Saw the marks on my shoulder. She heard the words that I told her.
Everybody knows this song. The moment that melody came in on the radio or in a club or in a restaurant, the whole room lit up. It had that smooth dance hall energy crossed with R&B warmth. It was cheeky. It was funny. It was undeniably catchy. And the voice that made you fall in love with it, that was Ricardo Ducent, known to the world as RikRok, a Jamaican English singer who brought the heart of that record and then watched the credit float away. It Wasn't Me was released in 2000 and crossed over fully into the mainstream in 2001. It hit #1 in the UK. And the United States and multiple other markets. In the UK, it became the top-selling single of the year. Think about that. Not just a hit, the #1 selling single of an entire year in one of the most competitive music markets on the planet. The song is built on a classic reggae meets R&B structure. The concept is comedic on the surface, but underneath it there is a real feel for storytelling that comes from Caribbean oral tradition.
Check it out. Yo, Mikey, you the king of...
Shaggy plays the advisor, RikRok plays the man in trouble, and the chemistry between those two voices is what made the record undeniable. Here is what makes this story sting. Shaggy was already established. He had history. He had boombastic. He had an audience and a machine behind him. RikRok came in, delivered the vocal performance of a lifetime, and then the machine moved on to protect its main investment. RikRok released his own music. He worked hard, but without the full weight of a label pushing him the way they pushed Shaggy.
But if you get caught, this is what you gotta say. Listen. One time, everybody!
The door never fully opened for him as a solo artist. He was the voice behind the year's biggest song, and he had to watch someone else take the headline. Now coming in at #8, we are going back to the 1970s, and I promise you this next story is gonna make you smile.
It makes no sense at all. I need to tell you that I'm sorry for the...
Because it involves two teenage girls, a late-night radio DJ, and a #1 hit that nobody saw coming. #8, Althea and Donna, Uptown Top Ranking, 1978.
I strictly roots, now pop, no stop.
In Jamaica, 1977, two teenage girls walk into a Kingston studio. They are not professional recording artists. They have no major label deal. They are young, they are bold, and they have something to say. The rhythm underneath their voices is loose and joyful. The feeling is playful roots mixed with early dancehall energy. It is the kind of record that makes you feel like the person singing it is having the time of their life.
True, them no know anything. Them no know, say we top ranking.
Because she was. They both were. And when that record crossed the Atlantic and landed on British airwaves, it stopped people cold in the best possible way. Uptown Top Ranking was produced in Kingston and released in late 1977 on Joe Gibbs Records.
We top ranking. Uptown top ranking.
The song is rooted in everyday life. It is about young women who are confident, who are stylish, who are not apologizing for being themselves. In a musical era dominated by male voices in roots reggae,
Suit and ting. Now pop, no style.
that message hit differently. The song made its way to the UK, where the legendary DJ John Peel played it on his BBC Radio 1 show. And from there, it climbed all the way to #1 on the UK singles chart in January 1978. Two teenage Jamaican girls, #1 in Britain.
No, say we top ranking. Uptown top ranking.
No machine, no budget, just a great record and one very important radio play. After the #1 moment, the follow-up singles did not chart.
Check say we come from Cosmos Spring, but the true them no know anything. Them
The album went unnoticed, and the industry, which had briefly pointed its spotlight at them, moved on. There was no real development deal. No long-term plan, no management structure built to sustain two young women from Jamaica in the British music business of the late 1970s. The conditions simply were not there.
From Cosmos Spring, but the true them no know and think. Them no know.
And so they had their shining moment and the world kept spinning. But that number one is real. Nobody can take that away from them, ever. One number one, zero apologies. Now we are moving into the top 7.
Should I see me and the ranking dread? Check out with jamming.
And coming in at number 7 is a band that had been recording music for almost 25 years before the rest of the world finally noticed them. And the way the world noticed them? Through a television show about police. Number 7, Inner Circle, Bad Boys, 1993.
Bad boys, what you gonna do? What you gonna do?
If you are over 45 years old and you have ever watched late-night television in the 90s, you already know this song in your bones. Bad Boys, Bad Boys. That chorus became one of the most recognizable pieces of music on the planet for an entire decade.
Chuck it on your brother and you chuck it on your sister. You chuck it on that one and you chuck it on me. Bad boy.
But here is what the television audience never stopped to consider. The band that recorded that song was not a new act looking for exposure. They were reggae veterans, real ones, with roots going back to Kingston in the late 1960s.
What you gonna do? Or what you gonna do when they come for you? Bad boys, bad boys.
And the fact that the world only knew them for one record is one of the great underappreciated ironies in the story of reggae going global. Inner Circle formed in Kingston in 1968. They released 12 albums before Bad Boys.
What you gonna do? Come for you, bad boys, bad. What you gonna do?
Arrived on their 13th studio record, Bad to the Bone, in 1992. Here, the song was picked up as the theme for the American reality television show Cops, and that placement changed everything.
On your sister, it's on me, bad boys, bad. You chuck it on that one and you chuck boys.
Suddenly, a reggae band from Jamaica had their music playing in living rooms across America every single week. The song hit number 1 in Germany, Belgium, the Netherlands, Switzerland.
What you gonna do? Come for you. Nobody not. What you gonna do when they give you no break?
New Zealand, and several other markets. It reached number 3 in the UK. The lyrics are about confronting wrongdoing and facing consequences. Straightforward and direct.
Give you no break. Not even break. That old soldier man. I do not give you no.
The kind of message that translates across every language. Inner Circle's deeper catalog is virtually unknown outside of dedicated reggae fans. Albums full of serious roots music.
Born for the reflection comes and reflect from mother with the love of affection goes.
Strong songwriting and genuine artistry sit in the shadow of one television theme. The band continued working and touring, but the mainstream audience that discovered them through Cops never went looking for the back catalog. That is the TV placement trap. It gives you exposure, but it defines you at the same time. 25 years of work reduced to one chorus in the ears of the general public. 25 years, one song. That is the part that should bother all of us.
With the love of sun reflection goes. I know the reflection goes sometime.
Coming in at number 6 is a man who spent 20 years building his career in Britain before one song about a street riot made him famous in America, and that song carries more political weight than most people ever realized. Number 6, Eddy Grant, Electric Avenue, 1982. Close your eyes and hear that synthesizer riff. That rolling, hypnotic, unmistakable opening. Electric Avenue does not creep up on you.
Deep in my heart, I adore ya.
It hits you immediately. It has that rare quality of feeling both urgent and cool at the same time. The bass is deep. The production is forward-thinking for its era. But underneath all of that sonic brilliance,
Oh, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue.
Is a very serious story. A story about fire on the streets of London, about a community pushed past its limit about black British people in 1981 telling the world that things had gone too far. This is not a dance record pretending to be political. This is a political record wrapped in an irresistible groove. Eddy Grant had been a serious figure in British music since the late 1960s as a founding member of the Equals. He's just one of the first racially integrated pop groups to have mainstream success in the UK. By 1982, he was recording solo on his own label Ice Records out of his own studio in Barbados. Electric Avenue was written in response to the 1981 Brixton uprising.
Good God, we gonna rock down to Electric Avenue.
A series of riots in South London that erupted out of frustration with police harassment and systemic neglect of the black community. The song reached number 2 on the Billboard.
We still can't feed everyone. Oh no, we gonna rock down to
Hot 100 in America. Most American listeners loved the groove without knowing they were dancing to a song about racial tension and community pain in Britain. Eddy Grant owned his masters. He owned his label. He owned his studio.
We gonna rock Electric Avenue.
In 1982, that was almost unheard of for a black artist in the music industry. He had built a structure that gave him complete creative and financial control. And yet, despite having one of the biggest crossover reggae hits in American chart history,
Out in the street,
the U.S. market never fully embraced him as a continuing artist. The system gave him one moment at the door and then quietly closed it. The man was ahead of his time in every possible way. Now we are entering the top 5.
down to Electric Avenue. Then we'll take it higher.
And number 5 is one of the most genuinely painful stories on this entire list, because this artist's song was already 3 years old and sitting in obscurity when somebody else came along, remixed it, and turned it into a global number 1, a song the artist himself had already given up on. Number 5, Oh My Cheerleader, 2015.
Tattoo will make you feel like cheating. I'm like, no, not really.
Omar Samuel Pasley from Clarendon, Jamaica, recorded this song in 2012. He released it. It moved modestly in the Caribbean and went quiet. 3 years later, a German DJ named Felix Jane remixed it, stripped it back, and uploaded it.
She walks like a model. She grants my wishes like a...
Europe caught fire. By the summer of 2015, it was number 1 in America, the UK, and across the globe. The original now sits at nearly 2 billion Spotify streams. I described the melody as something he hummed to himself like a nursery rhyme.
The magic wand, all these other girls are tempting, but I'm empty when you're...
A simple, honest song about finding the right person. He was genuine, he was not manufactured, and then the industry decided his moment had a shelf life. His follow-up, Hula Hoop, flopped almost everywhere. Felix Jean
cheating, I'm like, no, not really, cause, oh, I think that...
The DJ who remixed his song went on to have a sustained career. I never found that second wave. Boys, nearly 2 billion streams, one summer in the spotlight.
She gives me love.
That is reggae's relationship with the mainstream told in one sentence. Number 4 sounds like fiction. A white Canadian man just released from jail records a reggae song.
So for cheerleader, she is always right there when I need her.
Nobody can understand, and it becomes the biggest selling reggae record of its era. Every word of that is true. Number 4, Snow, Informer, 1993. Darren O'Brien grew up in a Toronto housing project surrounded by Jamaican culture. He absorbed the music, the language, and the spirit of it from childhood. He was arrested, spent time in jail,
say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. Take the man that say that I'm
came out and recorded a reggae song so thick with patois that most listeners could not decode a single line. It went to #1 on the Billboard Hot 100 and stayed there for 7 weeks.
so me start somewhere down the lane. I like it boom boom down. Informer, you know say that I'm a snowman.
At the time, it was the best-selling reggae song ever recorded in mainstream chart terms. The real beauty is that Snow was not manufactured. He was not a label gimmick. He genuinely lived close to this music. The song itself is about being hunted,
You know say that I'm a snowman, I go glam. I like it boom boom down. Take the man that say that I'm a snowman, start so.
labeled and betrayed, real themes buried inside a groove that America was dancing to without understanding what it was actually saying. The industry let the joke about the unintelligible lyrics become the story. And when your music gets framed as a novelty, the conversation about your next record starts at a disadvantage before it even begins. 7 weeks at #1, one shot. He gave it everything. Now we are in the top 3. And #3 is where the whole conversation changes. Because this is not just a one-hit wonder story. This is the story of a song that started a revolution. And there is a controversy here I promised you earlier. We have arrived. #3, Wayne Smith, Under Me Sleng Teng, 1985. I need you to understand what reggae sounded like before this record existed. It was warm, it was organic, bass guitar, drums, keyboard, live musicians in a studio doing what live musicians do. There was a human heartbeat inside the music. And then one night in Kingston in 1984, a young man walked into a studio with a cassette tape containing a rhythm he had created on a Casio MT40 keyboard, a cheap electronic keyboard. Not a proper instrument, not a studio setup, a keyboard you could buy in a shop. And when that cassette went through the speakers in the right hands, the entire trajectory of reggae and dancehall music changed. Forever. That night, Wayne Smith brought his digital rhythm to producer King Jammy, also known as Lloyd James, who was one of the most respected sound system operators and producers in Jamaica at the time. King Jammy heard what Smith had and understood immediately that this was something different, something new. He refined the track, and they brought it to the 1985 dance hall session at Sunsplash, one of Jamaica's most important reggae festivals. The response from the crowd was seismic. The record was released and it became a massive hit in Jamaica and the UK reggae scene. It was fully digital, no live instruments. And it proved that a rhythm made entirely by machine could move a crowd just as hard as anything recorded with a full band. #2 is next, and it involves 5 schoolboys from Birmingham, England, who recorded a song about a cooking pot, accidentally cleaned up the original message about something else entirely, and sold 5 million copies worldwide. The #2 spot belongs to them, and they earned every single place in this countdown. #2, Musical Youth, Pass the Dutchie, 1982. 5 boys from Birmingham. The youngest was 11 years old. They had Jamaican heritage. They loved the music their families brought from the island, and they recorded a record that hit #1 in the UK and sold over 5 million copies worldwide.
So I stopped to find out what was.
The song was based on Pass the Coochie by the Mighty Diamonds, which carried a very different meaning in Jamaica. The word was changed, the message was cleaned up for radio,
Objects was a few when you got no, and the session was there in swing.
and what came out the other side was pure joyful energy that crossed every border the music industry usually hides behind. The record appeared in films, television shows, and commercials for 4 decades.
When you got touch it on the left hand side, no. Pass the
A whole new generation discovered it through Stranger Things on Netflix. The song simply refuses to die. But these were children. Real children. Inside an industry that was not equipped to protect them.
on the left, the touch it on the left hand side, pass it and go on.
Reports from members in later years pointed to the difficulty of navigating money and business while being so young. The label wanted them to keep delivering the same accessible formula. The boys were growing up and wanted to evolve.
The session was there in swing, objects and the same.
That tension broke the band apart before they ever had a real chance to show what else they could become. 5 million copies, 5 children, 1 chance. The music industry has a lot to answer for in this story, and now we are here. #1, I've been building toward this since we started, and I promise you, this is not just the most important one-hit wonder in reggae history. It might be the most important one-hit wonder story in the history of popular music.
All right, C-Trends fam, let's keep it real. We're pouring our hearts into bringing you the best celebrity news and music deep dives. But check it, a massive 98% of you aren't subscribed yet. Subscribing is how you can truly support us, helping us grow and create even better content. If you're vibing with what we do, take a sec to hit that subscribe button. It's free and makes a huge difference. Plus, ring that notification bell so you never miss out. Let's flip that 98% and build this C-Trends family together. Your support is everything.
#1, Millie Small, My Boy Lollipop. It is 1964. Britain is being taken over by beat music and early rock and roll, and into all of that comes a 16-year-old girl from Clarendon, Jamaica with a bouncing ska record. That sounds like nothing on British radio at that moment. It has a harmonica, it has a rhythm that moves differently, it carries sunshine from a place most British listeners have never seen, and the country fell completely in love with it. The facts are almost hard to believe. The record hit #2 in the UK and #2 in America. At the same time, 7 million copies sold worldwide. It launched island records into the mainstream, and it introduced ska music to the Western world on a commercial level before reggae even had its name. Chris Blackwell has spoken about what watching the aftermath taught him. And the industry of 1964 was not built to develop or protect a young black woman from the Caribbean. The money flowed away from her. The follow-ups were not given real support, and Blackwell reportedly made himself a quiet promise to do better going forward. That promise shaped how Island Records later handled Bob Marley. Which means the global explosion of roots reggae in the 1970s has a direct line running back to what the industry did to Millie Small and what one man decided to change because of it. Millie did not record music for over 40 years. In 2011, Jamaica named her a Commander of the Order of Distinction. She passed away in May 2020. The tributes came, but not enough of them. Not nearly enough. She was ground zero. She opened the door that every other name on this list walked through. One song, one teenage girl. One genre introduced to the entire world, the most powerful one-hit wonder in reggae history, and it was never going to be anyone else.